What's up, guys? Welcome back it's so weird to say welcome back to a different podcast. I'm so used to saying welcome back to This is Oklahoma. This is
Yeah,
not This is Oklahoma. This is I don't have an accent. You do. Podcast is back. It's heavily golf, cars, music, real estate related. And today it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of my best friends and a golfer who has been kicking my backside for the last 18 months. Former college teammate of mine, current club champion at Gladia, and I want to say probably now has more professional wins than anybody else that graduated from our University of Southern Nazarene.
maybe.
Some people might be irritated about that, which I think is hilarious. Anyway, gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Blake Jackson to the podcast.
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
It's been a minute.
I was up the golf club for dinner the other day and looked out onto the patio and was like, you know what? I was trying to figure out how long it was when we recorded that episode on the patio at the golf club.
Yeah.
And it was probably when we joined. And so it's been 4 years at least.
Yeah, I think because it was post Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was end of April or beginning of May, somewhere around there. But yeah, it would have been probably 2022. It would have been
something like that.
Would have been before I went to my very first Open.
Crazy.
So,
Which that's one thing we're going to talk about today is going to be Open themed. You just got back earlier this summer from Portrush. You've been over to St. Andrews. You spent 5 months living in Scotland, which is its own episode, which we'll get to in the future. But today we're going to talk about the Open, why it's special, links golf in general, the fact that the US seem to have, if you look at the stats, they've had 48 wins now over the history compared to Scotland's 41, and obviously back to back. And I just realized I looked at the leaderboard from Portrush and the top 4 players finishing were all American too. So, it seems to be when the weather is, and this is an asterisk again with Brian Harman because he played in the rain and it was horrendous weather when he won, but historically, when the weather's been terrible, the US players have just not, like, they just missed the cut. And when it's kind of benign and, just like wide open, no wind, they seem to just wedge fest it and destroy everybody else. So there's plenty of stats out there. But you mentioned going to your first Open, so let's talk about the process of getting tickets and why you wanted to go to an Open championship.
So my first, I guess, kind of intro to the Open, we traveled back to Scotland in the the fall of 2017. I guess it still technically would have been summer. It was September. We did a trip to London and then took the train up from London to Edinburgh, spent a couple of days in Edinburgh, and then spent a day in St. Andrews, stayed the night in St. Andrews. So that was the first time I'd been to St. Andrews. So that was 2017. I mean, it's something like I had a poster of it on my wall of like 18 at Swilcan Bridge and seeing the RNA clubhouse. And then obviously like Rusacks and everything on the side lining up the right. And it was something that like I'd always wanted to go to and just fell in love with it. And knew it was going to go back. But then I guess my second kind of intro to it would have been I was in Ireland in 2019 in March before the Open went to Portrush, and we went up to Portrush. So we actually, Mandy and I, my wife, we did a photo shoot. We just seen this guy's name is Rob Dite, little shameless plug. One of the most fun experiences I've ever had with the photographer. We wanted to do just like a fun shoot, kind of like everybody does, like engagement photos and stuff like that. It was kind of like that, but I mean, we'd been married for 6 years at that point, but we wanted to travel and take some really cool photos. And we have some of the like coolest photos I will like ever see that we have ever taken. Like I have a photo of us standing on like the edge of the cliff, overlooking Dunluce Castle, overlooking the rest of Portrush, but then the huge dune is in the background. So it's like it's my favorite picture, and I think it's actually on the wall over here. But it's like, it's awesome. But I got to go before the Open was there 4 months before I got to go into the clubhouse. It was kind of a rainier day. There was maybe like 8 guys on the golf course total. There was a head pro and the assistant pro in the shop. And I just went in there and talked with them and had a good time. So I got to see Portrush before everything was there. But the RNA decided to do something cool. So they did this thing called the ballot. So, I mean, you know what a ballot is. For anybody else, it's kind of like the Masters lottery for like the States. The Masters lottery, insanely difficult to get tickets. I'm now 0 for 18 on getting tickets to the Masters through the lottery. The RNA for the 150th at St. Andrews, so it would have been in 2022, they decided they were going to do a ballot system to where you could apply for tickets and kind of the same thing. You select how many tickets you can per day, and you just kind of max out. So, I mean, you can do, I think it was 4 tickets each day is what you could do. So, like, it was Monday through Sunday, so all the practice rounds, and then all the way through all 4 tournament rounds. So I entered for tickets, and I was successful the very first time with 2022. So I got my notification, and I think it was March or April. It's like, hey, your ballot's been selected. You have tickets on, I think I had tickets for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but I decided just to go Monday and Tuesday. I had 4 tickets each for the practice rounds. Took some friends, asked you, but couldn't swing it. You had too much travel going on.
Yeah. Did you sell the Wednesday tickets, or did you give them away?
So in 2022, I was able to select what tickets I actually wanted to keep.
Cool.
So I was just able to select, okay, Monday, Tuesday, I kept those tickets, and then those 4 tickets for Wednesday just went back and they ordered into the ballot. They did it differently this year, but yeah, so we had those tickets and it was successful. So we went. We'll kind of talk about like going there. But then this last year, I didn't enter it for Liverpool in 2023 because we were going to be there and we were going to be moving there. So I wasn't going to have time to go to the Open. So I was actually, I drove through Liverpool and Manchester during the Open. Like I drove through it. I think it was maybe the Thursday or the Friday. We drove through it. I wasn't anywhere remotely close to the golf course. It's cool to say. It's like, yeah, I drove through when the Open was there. And then 2024 goes on with Turin. And then I saw that it was at Portrush. And I just remember it's like having just, not ties, but just like having kind of like a familiarity and connection with Portrush. It was like, you know what? I want to enter the ballot again. So I just entered the ballot, selected, had day 0 now, which was the Sunday before. So you can go Sunday to Sunday tickets.
Yeah.
So I just entered the ballot, and I think it was like September, October, told Mandy, it's like, hey, I entered the ballot. We'll just see what happens. Lo and behold, successful again. So 0 for 18 for the Masters, 2 for 2 on the Open. And I was given 4 tickets for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
So awesome.
Which I was just like, how could I just strike out like so poorly with Augusta National and the Masters? And the RNA is just like, yeah, here you go. Just take all your tickets. Yeah. So I just went the Monday, Tuesday again. But this year you had to purchase every ticket that you were allotted, or you decided to either have it or not. So we purchased all, and then once the resale platform went back, I listed the tickets for Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday for sale. And the funniest thing was the Sunday tickets were, I think, £25. And
for those listening that doesn't know what that is, that's like $40.
Yeah, it's like nothing. Like it might be like 36 or like maybe like mid 30s. So it's like nothing. The Sunday tickets for like day 0, the practice round. Okay, so the day, not Sunday. So that's the part
day
of the story that
is the
so
Sunday
day 0, the kind of the first practice day that like players can come practice, but still like day 0 is the final round of the Scottish Open. So guys who missed the cut or guys who weren't playing the Scottish would be there, but I mean, most of the big name guys aren't going to be there. So it's going to be a really quiet day. So the day 0 days, it just said Sunday, and those were the 4 tickets that went first. I listed them, and within 15 minutes, they were gone because it doesn't say day 0. It just says Sunday, and I think people saw Sunday and saw £25 and just bought. Yeah. So once they're bought, it's fine. But yeah, every ticket that I had sold. So I just had 4 tickets again on Monday and Tuesday. And this year in 2022, a friend of ours, Cameron Vaughn, and his wife kind of came with us, and we did that trip. And then we also did that. Then good teammate of ours, Eric Smith, flew in from Germany, met us in, and he went in 2022. So wasn't able to kind of make it work there. So this time around, asked a few other people, and it just kind of ended up being Cameron and I went again this year. And then Kaylee, his wife, and then Mandy joined us for Tuesday. So it was just the 2 of us on Monday, and then the 4 of us on Tuesday, and it was great. So I mean, I would highly recommend. And it seems like the friends that I have in Scotland have entered the ballot and they're unsuccessful, and I think they're a little bit kinder to not kinder. I think they're a little bit like, okay, it's like from the U.S. It's like, hey, give them tickets because it's like they're gonna like come. So it's like I think it's a little bit easier for us to get tickets. I'm not plugging that as like, hey, if you enter the ballot, you're going to get tickets. I mean, I'm 2 for 2. It's like I went to 2 great Opens. I mean, I went to the 150th, and I went to the only Open that's ever been outside of like mainland UK. So it's mainland UK, but it's like, it's awesome. It's like, and Portrush is what a golf course. But yeah, no,
They're so different. The golf courses are so different, but also
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear how do you can't compare St. Andrews to Portrush because just St. Andrews is great and
Oh
so
yeah.
is Portrush, but they're so different. My question though is how do you compare the people of Portrush compared to the people of like St. Andrews in Scotland?
I'll say this, like having lived there, like I have like a very, very like soft spot for the people in Scotland. And also it's like having Scottish and Irish roots that aren't very, very far up my family line. With my great grandmother being born in Scotland, immigrating to Ireland, and then immigrating to the US, I have an affinity for the people of Ireland too. I think the way that I'd kind of describe it is this: it's like the people in Scotland will be really they're extremely friendly. They're great people. I think you have to kind of pry back the shell just a little bit to get them to kind of open up. But once they open up, it's like, oh man, it's like just some of my favorite people in the world, people that I may have met once or twice that I still talk to, people that I've made kind of special, kind of not special trips, but kind of like going back and like making days or making times to go see people that we met and friends that we made when we're there. So I love Scotland as a country. I love the Scottish people. The Irish people almost the exact same way, but just from the get-go, just extremely outgoing. Just like you could be standing there just kind of minding your business and maybe like looking for something. And you're like, oh, hey, what do you need? It's like, oh, and then just there's I mean, it's just they're so welcoming and they're so warm and this it's just so fun. Like they go out of their way to make sure it's like, oh, hey, thanks for coming to our little island. We want to make sure you have a good time.
Yeah, and
So
that's
it's like,
this is not the first time you've been to Ireland. Like you said, you've been to Portrush before. You landed on St. Patrick's Day at 7 a.m., right? After flying all
yeah,
night.
yeah, the very first one. Yeah, that was one of the longest. That was one of the longest days of my life. We learned very early on. It's like kind of like before we went over, and it's like as an American, everybody kind of thinks like, oh, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day more than they do in Ireland. It's like, nope, and 100% prove that that's wrong. And the year that we went just happened to line up where there was a bank holiday weekend, and it lined up like perfectly where it was like basically the entire country had like a week
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
And like I mean, the population of Dublin, I'm not even going to begin to quote it, but our taxi driver when we landed at 6 took us to our hotel, and we asked like how busy he was expecting it to be and everything like that. And he said it was like, well, it's like the population basically goes up by like a million people for like 4 days, 5 days, and then everybody like comes into Dublin like for St. Patrick's Day, and then they just go back
yeah.
out. And he was right, because it was just one of the most like remarkable experiences ever. It's
So
like,
awesome.
and it was, yeah, landed at 6 a.m. after like being up for almost like 24 hours from flights and stuff like that, and then didn't go to bed until like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I mean, you see people lining up at Temple Bar and in Temple
Yeah,
Bar for pints of Guinness at 9 and 10 when the pub's opened, and the Guinness just doesn't stop flowing.
that's
And
dangerous, right?
that's fine by me.
Yeah. God, have you successfully split the G?
Many, this can sound many, many times.
Okay,
I've had a lot of
good,
practice.
good.
My favorite one was off of the recent trip that we just did when we were in Scotland. I went to the Jigger Inn. So love the Jigger. Right off of 17, almost maybe about 120 yards from 120 yards from 17 green.
Tiny little white building.
Oh yeah, tiny little white building. It's like if you go play around in St. Andrews, or even if you just go to St. Andrews, it's a good spot to have a pint. Their fish and chips is great. I've
Yeah,
had their fish and chips twice, haven't been disappointed. Their chowder
great
is really good
sandwiches
too.
too.
And I remember it's like I had a pint inside, and then we walked outside, and as took a sip, split it, put it on the wall, and it was perfectly down the middle. And I was like, I'm never gonna have a better spot to split it. Took a picture, sent it to the guys, and then your response was, I need video proof of this now.
Yes. Did you
And I
do
was like,
another one? Anyone can take a picture.
anybody could take a picture, but it's like, man, it was, yeah,
It was
that was
also a very
pretty,
smug photo to the rest of the group. Be like, "Yep, I'm at St.
it was, yeah, it was pretty, it was a pretty good day. Had to get Bish, good old Bill
Yeah,
Bishop, had to get him back for that, for him being in Ireland.
that
I
too.
think the day that I came back, or the day that I flew out, was the day that he had gotten back from Ireland. So he was sending us pictures of them playing every course. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not playing right now, but this will be a pretty good one.
You're also partial to a whiskey as well. That you, I mean, I
Oh yeah,
know we'll get to the open stuff in a second, but
oh yeah.
Irish, Scottish, you've been to both. What's the favorite?
I do. I have to be in a mood for Irish whiskey. I'm not very particular, but I guess I have preferences for For whiskeys and especially Scotch whiskey. Glenlivet 18-year single malt is my absolute favorite. Yeah, you could give me one of those. I mean, I can't have any now for
Well,
right now,
yeah.
but
Once you
it's
ring
like,
that bell, that's what we're celebrating with.
yeah, ringing the bell. That 18-year, that bottle might go, it might go between a bunch of different people. Um, yeah, that's my favorite. Second favorite is actually from Talisker. So Talisker is a distillery on the Isle of Skye, and it was a limited run that they did, and it just happened to be when we were there in 2023 with Parlay. Do you know Parlay? I think the sea company or a company that kind of goes through like sea pollution, like kind of plastics company, kind of like protecting reefs and companies stuff like that. So Talisker did a partnership with Parlay where they did a whiskey called Wilder Seas. In it, we had a tasting of it while we were there. When we didn't do a tour of the distillery, but we went and did a tasting when we were on Skye. And I mean, I bought a bottle. I had to buy a bottle before we left, and then I was really mad that I didn't buy like two or three. So then I found a company, a wine company in France that actually had two bottles of it for sale. So I had them shipped to my mother-in-law's house in Tennessee. Had them shipped to my mother-in-law's house in Tennessee because I can't ship it here, just different laws and stuff like that. So I had it shipped there. I have another bottle of it there. But that was the other thing that we did when we were in Scotland, is that we just toured different distilleries. So I mean, whiskey distilleries, gin distilleries too, because the history of gin is really cool too. But toured Oban. I mean, yeah, when we do our when we do a full Scotland podcast, we'll spend a good chunk on Oban.
That's where Bobby McIntyre's from, right?
That is where Bob's from. That's where Bob's from. That's where I met a lot of awesome people that I still keep in touch with. Allie and Sean. I'll have to send them to this because they'll get a chuckle out of this. That's where Glen Cruton is. That's Oban itself. The town has a special place in my heart. That golf club has a special place in my heart. I was about this close to just becoming an international member and just didn't do it. Honestly, probably should just to have it anyways. But it's like, yeah, it's just a special spot. But the town's built around the distillery. I mean, it's a fishing town, and the distillery is right in the middle. So I mean, they produce amazing stuff. Glenmorangie up north in the Highlands, outside of Dornoch, just right near Tane. Awesome. It was really really cool. Didn't get to tour Glenlivet, but went to Glenlivet. It was amazing. Did Kingsbarns. So the Kingsbarns distillery right next to the golf course. It was pretty cool. Didn't do the whiskey tour, but we did the gin tour. So that was really fun. We did
Gin
an
is
1880.
Gin is very big in Scotland.
It's very big in Scotland. And I mean, it's, yeah, for anybody listening, just go look at the history of gin, like in the UK, just the history of gin in general in the UK. Just fascinating. Just that whole, just everything. It's just like, it's super cool. Kind of same process as whiskey, but just doesn't take nearly as long to make.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Talisker and I think a few others, but yeah, it was just awesome spot. Love me some whiskey. I have my preferences, but yeah, it's not. It's.
We'll get back to it, I'm sure, at some point. It won't take
We will.
long.
We will.
Okay, take me through. Let's just roll through the week. So you go, you sell your Sunday tickets, your 0-day tickets. You and Cam go, and the girls go off and do their thing. What's weather like? What do you end up doing? Take me through the day.
So day one was a pretty good day. I mean, the weather while we were in Dublin and the weather even when we were in Scotland was just warm for that time of year. Like it was 80 degrees. That's hot when you don't have AC.
It's unheard of.
Yeah, it's like it's just like 80 degrees is like you could be out in shorts and a t-shirt. And I know everybody that say it's like degrees is nothing. 80 degrees, like when you walk into a building and it's warmer because there's no air conditioning and you have to walk outside to cool off. It's like it's just a whole completely different experience.
Yeah.
But
because the walls are 3 feet thick and you're built. Yeah.
I will say this: we went and toured Kilmainham Jail, and it was cooler walking through the older part of the jail, and I actually felt relief. And it was like I walked into a corridor, and it was like, oh, this feels good. Like it was 80 outside, it felt like it was maybe like 70 degrees in there, just because it's stone walls and everything just kind of hold that moisture, and it was comfortable. Not comfortable back in like the early 90s. But so by the time we went north on that Sunday, it was still pretty warm. But by Monday, Tuesday, it actually started to cool down just a little bit. So weather was actually really good. There was a little bit of rain on the, didn't have anything for the first couple hours that we were there. I think we got there in the morning around 9:30 or 10 because tried to figure out bus schedules, and anybody who's ever been to Portrush, it's like there's from where we were staying in Port Ballantree, which is about maybe like 5-6 minutes away if you're just driving the main road, but it's about 12 to 15 minutes away because of road closures and everything like that. So there's one highway, one road that leads into Portrush from that direction, and there are two highways that lead out from the opposite direction, going towards like Coleraine and everything like that. But so had a lot of stuff blocked off just for buses. So we were kind of waiting around. Like we thought a bus was going to come. Bus came, said, "Oh no, it's not this bus. It'll be the next one coming pretty soon." And we looked at it, I was like, that was a bus that we were supposed to get on to take us to this stop to take us to another. So we ended up was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a parking pass.
Yeah, right.
Just bought a parking pass, did a park and ride. We actually drove further, about halfway to Coleraine to park in a field, which is awesome. I mean, it's what we did in St. Andrews too. And then we shuttled into the golf course. So, I mean, super easy way to do it. Public transit in the UK is awesome, but it's like just for house. I mean, Portrush is basically just like a northern kind of like holiday town. Like it's not small. It is small, but in terms of like towns that I've lived in or been to, like a Brora or even like a Dornoch, it's not small compared to those, or even like a Golspie. Like it's a pretty good size.
How do you find driving over there?
I love it. Once, like the first time we went in 2017 it was new. It wasn't that comfortable, but by the time but after like a day or so, you're like, okay, like you start to kind of get your bearings, and kind of biggest thing is just kind of spatial awareness, like in the car. Cause like when you're used to left-hand drive, right-hand side of the road, it's not that big of a deal. Now I've gotten so used to it that when I come back, I have to tell myself, it's like right side of the road, right side of the road, right side of the road. Cause I get so used to it. And it's like, especially like, living
I have that experience
months,
going home. I've been on the side, I've been driving home with my dad in the car. I'm like, it's this side, right? And he's like, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
great.
it's like, it's like, I don't really have to, when I get over there, it's almost kind of like second nature. Like, and that's the kind of nice thing about it. Anytime we travel over there and we rent a car, like I don't worry about it. It's like, it takes me probably like 15-20 minutes to really kind of get spatial awareness of the car and just kind of feel like where like front bumpers and just everything like that is. Cause especially when you just drive a different car.
Yeah.
It's like, just like if I jump into your car and you jump into mine, like you get a feel for it, like it'll be fine, but it doesn't take too long. But yeah, I love it. There've been times where I'm like, man, I kind of want to just like, I want to buy like a Cupra or something like that that's right-hand drive, and like just ship it back to the States because it's
a great car.
Yeah, or even like a
park and ride in, you and Cam.
Yeah, so we get there around like 9:30 or 10, something like that. So we're there for a couple of hours, and then we're walking around. It's like we just kind of walk a little bit on the golf course. Like we come in, I think like on the third green, so the par 3 third. So we come in near the third green, which is one of the higher points on the property. So we come in through there, kind of get our bearings, grab a coffee, grab a BAP, and then we start walking a little bit.
Sausage or bacon?
Bacon. I would have done a bacon black pudding if I could have, but it was just bacon or sausage, so I just did bacon. I mean, it's like, and I will say this, it's like everybody in the States, like they love their bacon, but it's like I prefer bacon rashers over kind of crispy bacon, like especially when they're done right.
Yes.
When they're done right, it's just so good. I love both, but I have a preference like on a BAP. Yeah, I want a bacon rasher and black pudding on a Scottish morning roll. Can't beat it. Especially a Dornoch. But so we walk in, grab everything. We kind of walk a few holes. And we're just like, okay, let's go. Let's kind of go find some guys. So we walk around. And I think we get to 16, and we're looking, and it's like, okay, who would be coming up? And it's Scotty and Tony Finau and Sam Burns. I think it was just the three of them. And it was just like, okay, cool. So we're just standing there. Whole group comes. So we find this spot. We're standing basically on one of the forward tees that they have to walk past to get back there. And we're right on the rope. So I mean, when they walk by, it's like, come through. Scotty walks by. It's like, that's number one player in the world right there. Tony walks by.
He's a big dude.
Scotty's a big dude. Tony, it's like, Tony's tall, but when you stand next to Tony, you're like, yeah, you're tall. It's like kind of like he's one of those guys where you're just like, okay, it's like you are pretty good size. One person that like I still can't get over the size of, like, just because you see them on TV and then you see them in person, you're like, whoa. Vijay Singh and Ernie Els, they are much taller than they look like on TV.
Giants.
They're just like massive human beings. But it was cool to see them. So we walk around, we kind of catch a few more guys and stuff like that. And it was like, hey, let's go over to the merch tent just before it gets kind of crazy. And we see on these boards, there's like, oh, like storm warning, like hazardous weather in the area. It's like, just be aware on the boards. And we're like, what are they talking about? Because it has like lightning symbol on it. And I was like, really? I was like, okay. And then like we get a notification and it's like play might be suspended because of thunderstorms in the area. Now it's like in Oklahoma, and everybody listening who's probably in Oklahoma, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's a thunderstorm.
That's normal.
Thunderstorms don't happen very frequently or even very often in the
Yeah.
UK that you know of. Like in the 6 months that we lived there and the many times that we traveled there, plenty of rain, never a single bolt of lightning or even kind of a crack of thunder. So it's like this rain comes in. So we like 5 minutes after getting in the merch tent, they're like, okay, pick up some stuff. And then we hear it's like, okay, they're suspending play, but we need to evacuate the tent. I'm like, okay, well, it's like, I get why, but it's like, where are we going to go? So we go out and then we were the last couple of guys to go into like the HSBC, like fan zone where it's like they have simulators and stuff like that. So we got in there and they closed the rope behind us. So we go to this other side and we're just kind of watching it go through, see one bolt of lightning, hear one crack of thunder. It was surreal. Like I was just like, I can't believe like what I'm experiencing right now. It's like, cause it's so rare, but it's like the huge band was kind of over like Coleraine and Port Stewart. And there was just one little guy that just kind of came over the golf course, but it dumped a bunch of rain and just one little bolt, one little crack. Like it was wild, but we kind of rode that out for about 45 minutes or so. And then we're able to go out and the rest of the day was great. It was a little windy, shocker, but I mean, got to see so many different, I mean, you pretty much see everybody on day one. I mean, so many different players. I mean, practically saw almost everybody in the field. I think the guys that we didn't see just for the week, like never saw Bryson. I don't think we ever saw John Rahm while we were there, but it's like, I mean, we basically saw almost like the entire top 50 in the world, except for those two.
Yeah.
And that was pretty wild. But day one was pretty fun. I mean, we got to see the majority of the golf course. We walked a bit with like Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, and Xander Schauffele, followed them for about 3 or 4 holes or so. Henrik Stenson was walking with Fanny Sennison with their group, just kind of chipping and putting every now and again, which is just cool. It's like just cool seeing just kind of like legendary people like Fanny Sennison. Like she's like one of the greatest caddies in the game. So it was cool to see her just walking around with Henrik and stuff like that. So it was super fun. Yeah, and then there was another rain delay that popped up like right at the very end, maybe about 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and we're just like, all right, cool. Let's get back on the bus and we'll go home.
Was there anybody that first day, you mentioned seeing, almost everybody in the top 50 in the world. Was there anybody that you wanted to see hit balls up close that you hadn't seen yet?
I think up close, wanted to see Rory, but Rory went out like he didn't really they didn't put out his tee time until like that morning. He went off like first and he flew. I think he may have just played the front. He might have played 18, but I mean, he flew through it. Like I think he was in his press conference by the time that we got to the golf course. Cause I'd seen Rory before. I mean, I'd seen him, funny enough, I saw him like his first year on the PGA Tour. I saw him at the WGC match play in Tucson. So back when it was just big bushy hair Rory, like Titleist in Jumeirah Estates Rory, in Oakley. No, it wasn't Oakley. I think it was Loch Earn is what it was, but I'm not even sure that was a clothing company. That might have just been a club. But yeah, it's like I had seen him play plenty of golf in person, but I hadn't seen like this kind of Rory. I mean, we saw him at 2022 in the PGA as well, but just kind of wanted to kind of get up and kind of see Rory at Portrush in his home country at the Open. Like that was just one of those things. And we ended up seeing him on day 2, but I mean, it was one of my favorite spots is just park yourself on the range, either in a stand or just standing on the range, and just you see literally everybody just hit balls. I mean, it's one of the best places to like just not only just take everything in, but also just see so many guys just hit golf shots. I love being out on the golf course at any tournament that I go to because it's fun to see guys during rounds hit shots or play and everything like that and see how the course is playing. It's really fun to watch guys practice because that's where, like, especially as a golfer, especially as like competitive golfers like we are, like it's cool to see how other guys practice and how they go about stuff. How many guys are like grinding, how many guys are just out there just kind of hitting a shot and talking and stuff like that. Like it's so much fun. I could watch Dustin Johnson hit balls all day because it's
that's your guy.
He's been my guy for a really long time, but it's like anytime I get to see him play, anytime I get to see him like just hit balls in person, I'm just like, yeah, I want to watch that guy. But it was really fun. He was hitting balls next to Sergio and Louis, and then Chris Gotterup. Gotterup just hammers the golf ball. And it's like, and It's
It
like,
makes a difference. Like, we say this a lot, right? And people ask me and what is it like to be around these or meet these or how much better are they? And all these questions, right? It just sounds different with those guys. There are some guys that don't. Some guys kind of just slap it around, they putt and chip great, and they make a living out of it. Like let's say Justin Rose, for example. He's played great, but he's not like a flusher, right?
hmm
You see Chris Goddard hit it in person, and the speed that he has from like here through impact, like down like 9 o'clock through impact, is unbelievable,
it's
right?
very, very unbelievable.
It's just fun, and he just hits little bomb fades. It's just fun
Yeah.
to watch.
There's only, I mean, I hit the golf ball pretty hard and I hit the golf ball pretty far, but there's like a handful of guys that I've seen hit golf balls in person where I'm like, yeah, that's different.
That's
Like
different.
it's like I can hit it very hard and I can hit it very far, but it's
Yeah.
like when I see some of these guys do, I'm like, okay, it's like, okay, I might not have that I might not have that in the bag. I might not have that in the tank, but maybe at my hardest, but it's like okay,
These guys
just
are cruising.
go, just
Yeah.
send it. Yeah. So it's
With
like,
with practice round stuff, it's fun to watch. I love going to practice rounds because you get to see them. And for me, when you're talking about watching shots, I'm thinking to myself, what do I like to see when I'm at practice rounds? Usually, I don't. It's tough to watch people hit golf shots from like the middle of the fairway when you're side on. Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
love to
yeah.
see it down the line, off the tee, down the line, and then short game chipping and putting, or like anywhere where you can
But
see
yeah.
like sort of the golf ball from behind the
Mhm.
player and into
Yeah.
a green. Because from the side, you have no context of how hard that golf shot is, right? Or if they're
Oh, yeah,
moving
no.
it right to left to right, or whatever it is, to a tuck pin. Is it, from the side angle, that pin doesn't look tucked as much. But down the line is always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense why you said want to sit on the range and watch these guys, because you can actually see them move the golf ball high, low, left, right, whatever they want, whatever they're
But yeah.
wanting to contract.
And it's like, and that's usually when you can tell, like, okay, is this guy going to play well this week, or is he?
Yeah.
It's like, is he going to miss the cut? Because like guys who are out there where it's like they have like an entire team around them and they're just hitting balls, and like you can kind of tell body language wise they're searching for something. I mean, like those are the guys who are just like, okay, it's like maybe not this week,
Did
but
anyone
it's,
stand out to you,
man,
like for that reason?
honestly, not too much. There were, I mean, we kind of stood. We weren't able to get in the grandstand, like we did in 2022. In 2022, I think I spent maybe like 2.5, 3 hours total in the grandstand
Yeah.
with the guys because it was just such a good spot. Nobody really kind of stood out from that point of view, but I could tell like guys who like were hitting the ball well that I was surprised to see miss the cut, because like Cam Young's a good example of that. Like I watched him play a few holes, watched him hit some balls on the range, and he was striping it. I was just like, this is a pretty good course fit for Cam. Like, I mean, like hits the ball really solid, pretty good iron player, just needs to be able to putt really well. And when I saw that he missed the cut, I was like, man, that was kind of surprising.
Didn't see that.
And then of course he wins like 5 weeks later.
Right.
So it's like, it was just one of those things where it's like, it was kind of shocking. He was guy. The Monday was really fun. The Tuesday was kind of the most memorable day, just because of who I talked to, who I ran into, players that we saw. Just it's just one of those days where I was like, at the end of it, I was just like, I had to make a list of everybody that I saw and actually physically talk to, instead of
Yeah.
like, I mean, you see guys, it's like we saw Phil on Tuesday, and I was like, yeah, go get him, Phil. Forks up for Arizona State. He did the same thing. He's like, cool. It's like, I don't count that as talking to somebody. It's like, but it's like you just chirp at them and they just kind of chirp back, or they kind of acknowledge you. But it's like people actually like talking. It was like, I made a list because I was like, this is like just insane. Like the
And
amount of
because
people
you're
that,
American, there is definitely a common bond of being overseas as an American.
well, yeah, 100%. Because you're just like, hey, we're not supposed to be here, but we are. So it's like, it's cool. It's like you just kind of have that little like camaraderie
Yeah.
with everybody. And I mean, it's funny, just like you're just walking around and you hear an accent, you're just like, okay, it's like you're probably from the East Coast. It's like, oh, you're probably from California. Didn't really hear a whole lot of like heavy Southern unless they were inside the ropes for like a Russell Henley or anybody like that. Or it was, yeah, it's just cool. Like,
What did you change up for the second day, or did you change anything at all?
the second day we got there a little bit earlier, and we walked, I would say, almost the entirety of the golf course on day one. But on day two, like we wanted to get out and kind of see more of like 7, see like 5, see 6, because like 5 green and 6 tee, that's like arguably the best spot on the golf course. Probably has one of the best benches in golf that, unless you're playing in the
We're
open.
on the cliff.
Yeah, and just like you just can't sit there.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, just kind of being near that dune, and anybody that I've talked to that's been to, or not even been to, but just kind of like watched the Open on TV and just kind of talks about, oh yeah, no, that sand dune is massive. I'm like, no, that sand dune is massive. Like,
they would call that a mountain in Oklahoma.
Goodness, yeah. Like, it's like I tell people, it's like I don't know like exactly how tall it is, but it's like it is probably as tall as like an 8, 9, 10-story building, like from top to bottom. And it's just, I mean, people were running up it like for workouts. Like, that's just seems miserable because it is just, I mean, it is huge, and then it's just grass on the side of it. But I remember like sitting there and I had to like actually like move my eye line up like when I was standing like near 7T, because it's just massive. But kind of standing next to that, so we wanted to get out there, wanted to see more. But yeah, I mean, walked a bit more, and then just kind of found a few spots to kind of park and just see guys roll through. Probably was on that spot for probably about 45 minutes or so, and then kind of hung out by like 15 and 16. Like, we kind of had our spots that we went to, like right at 15 green. I mean, you're like, the rope is maybe like 7 to 10 yards right of the green, and guys were dropping balls to like chip up there. I mean, that's where you can walk up on 16 to get across and get to the other side. And 16, oh my gosh, what a par 3. The fact that Scotty almost played that hole 4 under for the week was just like the most like unfathomable thing. I mean, Scotty is Scotty, and Scotty's just been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But like, just taking 8 strokes on that hole for 4 days, like, is just not something that I had in the cards for anybody.
No.
I mean, he made 3 birdies, and that's nothing to bat an eye at, but it's like he almost made 4.
Yeah.
Like,
and he birdied the first 3 rounds of it too, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a quarter of an inch away from birdieing it all 4 days, which is an absolute joke. When I think the shortest it played was, I think, maybe 230. Like,
over a tire, like, you know, like cut off of the side of a mountain, basically.
Oh yeah, I watched Corey Connors hit a 3-wood in there, and it was short in the practice round. I was like,
yeah,
yep, because I think he was playing. I think they played kind of max at like 260 is what I think it played at most, and the guys were playing it from the very back in the practice rounds too. But it's like, that was just a fun spot to watch, because
you could sit there all day, right? I had another friend who went there, and he's like, he was there tournament rounds, and you know, he's like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go. I'm like, park yourself on 16. Just watch people hit into 16, even if it's just for a few hours. Like, you can chill and relax. Such a great spot.
It's a phenomenal spot, because then it's like, if you're up there, you can see guys hitting down 8. You can see them kind of coming into 7. Like, especially if you're in the grandstand up towards the top, and it was a smaller grandstand on the tee, but it's like you can see everything kind of turned around. You can see guys coming into 10 and 15, or not 10. You can see them coming into 15, but then you can barely kind of glimpse the tee on 17, because it's kind of back and then up to the left. But it's like the range is down to the right on the, I can't remember the name of the other course, but they're basically just using a couple of holes on the other side just for the range.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like, I can't, like, how tall that dune is, the drop off on 16 to the right, like, is just like, you're going to hit like a full wedge, and you have to hit that full wedge as high as you can, pretty much, if you hit it short, because it's just insane.
Yeah, the cameras don't do it justice.
Yeah, that was kind of the spots that we kind of parked, like that 15, 16 spot, spent a bunch of time there, and 17, 5, 6, 7. Like, that was a great spot, and that's where you could pick up stuff. But that's like a really good kind of like melting point for the course, because then you can go off one direction and get to like 9, 10, 11, even like 12, 13, or you can go the other way, and then you can get to like 15, 16, and then kind of go up that way. And it was really cool. But the 8th hole, and then the 9th hole, or the 8th hole, and I guess like the 10th tee, or not 10th tee, 11th tee, are like 2 spots that I will always just like love, just because of what, like, just probably about like a 20-minute stretch of just walking, and just the people that I ran into, talked to, just kind of crazy.
Yeah, go through your list.
Yeah, so like that, the stretch that I'm talking about is, and it's like, there's going to be people that know who I'm talking about. There's going to be people that don't know who I'm talking about, but you should.
Well, you can give some context to these people as to what they do.
Cam and I were, it's funny, Kaylee and Mandy were like in a grandstand on 15 because there was like, hey, we're just going to like sit up here for a bit because it was nice. We were just kind of hanging out there. And we're just like, okay, we're going to go over to 16, kind of watch Phil and Daniel Berger were playing a match. So we just kind of watched them. And they were playing with somebody else, but I can't remember who it was. And we're just kind of watching them hit. And then we kind of get back across the grandstand, then like the walkway, and then kind of go back down. And we're standing up top, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, there's Sepp Straka, there's Russell Henley, there's JT Post, and I'm like, okay. And I can't remember who the fourth was in their group, but it was like, oh, I'm gonna watch them tee off, and they start walking off, and then I look kind of like to the right, like just in like outside of the ropes, and I look down, and I'm like, it looks like John Wood. John Wood, famously a caddy for Hunter Mahan, famously a caddy for Matt Kuchar, NBC sport commentator. I think he's the general manager of this year's U.S. Ryder Cup team, like part of that team, like with Keegan and all those guys. And I was like, I saw him and he was just walking, and I was like, man, I gotta go down. Like I gotta go down. Just like say it's like I'm not gonna get another opportunity to kind of say this, and you never know. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna go say hi. So I get down the stands, and he's like kind of walking up right kind of next to the stands when I get there. So to say, it's like, hey, Woody, you're the man. And he was like, or I think I said something like, how's it going this week, Woody? It's like, it's kind of his nickname. So he was like, hey, it's good. So it's like, just started talking up, and it was like kind of walking up through. Probably talked to him for probably like 8 to 10 minutes, just kind of talking about all things, kind of how the week was going, when he got there. The funny thing is we were staying at an Airbnb in Port Ballantree, and there's a hotel, the Bayview Hotel there. We had dinner there the first night, and that's where the entire NBC crew was staying. So, I mean, I actually have to pull up this list. When I say like, when I say entire NBC crew, I mean like entire NBC crew minus probably like Dan Hicks and Mike Tirico and those guys. But it's like the first night that we had dinner, saw Brandel and Bailey Chambly, saw Damon Hack, saw Rich Lerner, saw Aaron Oberholzer, and saw Eamon Lynch. I was like, you've got to be kidding. It was just like one after the other, after the other, after the other. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And Aaron Oberholzer was a guy, when he had his one PGA Tour win, when he won at Pebble, I think in 2005, 05 or 06, I was a standard bearer for his group with Ryan Moore and Greg Owen at the Phoenix Open the week before he won. So I told Woody about that. I was saying, it's like, hey, I saw all the NBC guys. It's like, yep, no, that's where we're staying. I was like, man, it's a great spot. He's like, yeah, it is a good one. It was like, I actually saw Aaron. I wanted to say hi, and it's because like was a standard bearer the week before he won. He's like, oh man, that's a cool story. It's like, here, it's like when I see him, it's like I'll tell him. It's like, so I told him, talked about kind of traveling, talked about living in Scotland for a bit, just talked about what he thought of the golf course, talked about like experience in 2019 versus now when he was caddying for Cooch and stuff like that.
Did he caddy for Kuchar when he lost to Spieth at Birkdale?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. I didn't want to bring that one up.
Yeah, Spieth go get that.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that one up. Because I asked, I was like, you were here in 2019? He was like, yep, caddying for Cooch. And I was like, yeah. It's like, what do you think? It's like, what do you think really kind of changed? And he was like, not too much, but he's like, hopefully the weather just kind of holds for it, because they had that Saturday was a rough day. And even kind of spitting on that Friday too, when Rory shot that like 64 to miss the cut by one. That was anyways. But talked to them, and he was like, man, I've got to go do a hit for live for him, otherwise it's like I would keep walking and talking with you. It's fun. But talking to him, then asked him for a picture, took a picture, and I was like, man, that's super cool. It was like the Mandy and Cam was walking behind me, and Mandy from the stands has a video of her videoing me walking with John Wood, while Cam is videoing me talking. So she's videoing me talking with John while Cam is videoing, and they both turn, and they're just like, what? It's like, what is this? And then I explained who it was.
I loved Mandy's post. Maybe it was a story on Instagram or something. She's like, Blake has a list of people he met at the Open. I have a list of like coffee shops or something.
Yeah, coffee shops, really good coffee shops and restaurants. I was like, that was kind of the list, but like that was the NBC crew. And then not even maybe 15 seconds after, I'm gonna call him just Woody, right after Woody goes to, like, walks across like 10 fairway to kind of get back to the TV compound, I look up, and there's a photographer that we both follow. He worked for TaylorMade for a long time. He just went to Strixon, Ollie Neglirio. Have loved his stuff. Have followed him on Instagram for years. Really cool photographer. Yeah, great photographer. Really cool shots. I mean, he worked for TaylorMade for 15, 16 years. Just really cool. And I see, and he went to Shrixon, I think a couple, maybe 2-3 months before the open. And I look and I see it's like, oh, it's Ollie. Like he's walking up and I was like, of course, like he's taking pictures like of Sepp. So it's like, walk over, he like he's taking a couple of shots of Sepp, like hitting his second shots into 8. And I'm maybe like 20, 30 feet from him. So it's like, I don't bother him because he's like, but when he's done and I see like he's getting ready to start walking off, I just say, it's like, I just like catch his attention. I'm like, Ollie, it's good to see you, man. So talk with him for about 2-3 minutes, just kind of talking through. It's like asking, it's like, how's it been at Shrixon? Had a cool conversation with him about that. And just told him, it's like, man, following you for years. Like, love your stuff. Keep up the good work. And it was cool. It's like, he was like, man, what's your name? And I was like, just told my name. And he was like, man, it was really cool to meet you. It's like, have a great rest of your week. I was like,
he's such a great follow on Instagram.
Oh, it's a great follow.
So good at photography. Like,
he's great photography, but it's like he also posts like just so much really cool stuff outside of golf too, behind the scenes stuff. Like he's a great follow. It's like getting to meet and talk to him in person. Just really cool dude. It was really, really fun.
I'm gonna go to his Instagram now so we can tell people what his Instagram name is.
Yeah, definitely follow on Instagram. It's like, whether you like TaylorMade Golf, Shrixon Golf, doesn't matter. It's a great follow, really cool dude. Gives you behind the scenes stuff, great shots.
Just Ollie Neglerio, and it's OLLIENEGLERIO, Neglerio.
Yep, Ollie Neglerio.
Yeah,
but
so good.
It was super cool.
His pinned post is this.
Yeah, with T-Dub. Yeah, it's like that's okay. That's all you got. It's like that's should be the post, but it's like he's just such a cool dude. He's just laid back SoCal guy. It's like just having a good time.
Yeah, that was his goodbye post for TaylorMade, saying 13 years at TaylorMade.
Yeah, 13 years. That's what it was. But yeah, just super cool. And I mean, still does.
That was April this year.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it had been 3 months at the time. But yeah, or I think he announced it maybe in May or at the very end of April. Yeah. But just super cool. So, and again, like everybody's left confused, like who is this? Who are you talking to? And I'm like, it's hard to explain.
Yeah,
but,
golf.
It's just golf, man.
Yeah.
So didn't get a picture with Ollie because like he had to rush to get someone else. But I was like, it's all right. It's like I shot him a message on Instagram afterwards, and just cool. But then 5 or 10 minutes or so after that, it's like we're walking up and we kind of look and see like who's kind of coming down. Cause they don't post scores, but you'll see like what group's on what hole and everything like that. So you can kind of time out, kind of seeing everybody. And we saw this like run where it was going to be like Xander and Pat Cantlay. And then I can't remember who else was playing with him at the time. I think maybe, he plays on Legion 13 now. Tom McKibben. I think Tom McKibben was playing with him. And then maybe somebody else. I literally have videos, and then the group behind them was going to be Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Jason Kokrak, I think Nico Echeverria, and then somebody else. It was like a random 5-ball. Like, well, 3 of them weren't really random, but the other 2 was like, okay. It was like maybe you just kind of like got in there on the time. So I was like, well, okay. So we found this spot, kind of like how we found on 17. I'll get back to 17 and the Rory story after this, but get to the spot where it's kind of like same spot. Like guys have to walk right past you. We're standing on the corner of the walkway. They have to walk right past you to get to the tee box. See Xander and Patrick and all those guys come through, watch them hit their tee shots on 11, and then look down the tunnel and it's like, okay, yeah, there's Brooks, there's Kokrak, there's DJ. So I say what's up to Brooks, say what's up to DJ, tell him have a great week. He's like, thanks, man, appreciate it. Oh, Keegan was the other guy in the group with Patrick and Xander. A couple Captain America chants over there. It was kind of fun. One of them was by Cam, so it was really great. Keegan kind of like shook his head and just kind of smiled and laughed at it and just kept walking. So it's like I think he's kind of loving that.
That's awesome.
But say what's up to Dustin, tell him have a great week. He's like, thanks, man. And then he walks by, and then Claude Harmon III, swing coach, Butch Harmon's son.
Yeah,
been following Claude for years just because one, love Butch, arguably one of the greatest instructors in the history of golf, and it's like Claude, his son, teaching DJ, my guy. So it's like been following him. He has his own podcast to listen to and everything like that, but just really good listen, really good follow. Saw him walking by and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say something. So I just said, I was like, you're the man, Claude. And he stops, he turns, looks at me and he's like, oh, hey, what's up? And he comes down from the tee box. Like as he's walking by, makes a beeline, comes over to me, shakes my hand. He's like, oh, how's it going? It's like, oh, it's great. It's like, when'd you guys get here? He's like, oh, just came in from Spain with DJ and all this stuff. It was like, oh, great. It was like, how you feel about this week? He was like, feel pretty good. I was like, how do you like their chances? And he just went, I'm hitting it good. Just cracked me up. He was like, hey man, have a great week. We'll see you later. I was like, all right, cool. So then just walked back up. But I was like, I looked at Cam and I was like,
Yeah. Did
what
that
has
just
been the
happen?
last 30 minutes of
Yeah.
like my life? I was like, the fact that Claude, like somebody like probably thought like he had met me at some point, but just like it was just cool to have him just like come down, like, oh, like shake my hand, talk for a little bit, and then just kind of make it good because like I'm hitting it good. And then just it made kind of everybody laugh. It is like it was just really cool. And then watching just guys just rip tee shots down 11 was really sick. That was one of the more kind of like surreal like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
30 minutes of my life. But like that was guys that like I talked to and stuff like that. But then the fun part was when we got onto the golf course. Yeah, this is the Rory story. So we got onto the golf course and we're like, okay, let's kind of see where guys are like right when we got there. So kind of backtracking a little bit in the day, but just kind of looking, we see, and it's like, okay, Rory should be on 14. So like, okay, cool. So like, we're not too far away from 14. So we kind of cut across and then we see it's like a massive amount of people walking up this dune on 15. So we're like, it's got to be Rory. And you see kind of Rory strutting up the hill. It's like, okay, we got to go. So we kind of book it. We're not running, but just kind of like finding it, watch him hit his second shot into 15. So we're going up. It's like, there's not a chance you're getting into the grandstand behind the green or near the green on 16. So we're like, you know what? Let's go up to 16 green because there's kind of mounds and hills and everything to the right. And we're just like, okay, let's kind of go up there. Let's kind of go up there and just kind of get a spot.
Yeah.
Because then it's like before, like we can watch him hit his second shot, or we can watch him, not second shot, we can watch him hit his tee shot into 16. And then we'll go to that same spot on 17T where we saw Scotty and all those guys like right on the rope. I was like, that's going to be the best spot. So we watched him hit his tee shot in there. And of course, like we go down there and we find our spot right on the rope, right on the corner. Sure enough, everybody kind of figures it out. Like after they're done, just a massive swarm of people just come get right behind me, right behind Cam. And it's like, all right, cool. It's like, he's just going to come around this corner. So, I mean, massive following with Rory. I mean, like anybody and everybody you can think of following with Rory. Faxon was out there just kind of walking with him for a little bit. But see Dylan DeThier and Claire Rogers from Golf Magazine. So, and I mentioned that because I'll bring Claire back up in a second because she had just an unbelievable tweet that week.
Yeah.
But they walked by and then I can't remember. I think he was playing with Tom McKibben, actually. I think Tom kind of jumped in with DJ and those guys later, or he might not have. I might be remembering so many people.
Yeah, because Tom's Irish, and so Rory.
Yeah, really good buddies with Rory. I think it was Shane, Tom, Rory, and I think it was just the three of them. There might have been a fourth, but I think it was just the three of them just kind of playing. So Rory walks by, obviously crowd and everything goes crazy. Like he hits a couple of tee shots off that hole. Gets to see him. It's like, okay, cool. Saw Rory hit some golf shots. Not at his home course, obviously, but it's like in his home country at the Open at a course where he used to hold the course record, like as like a 16-year-old. And it was just insane. So when he walks back by, he's talking with Claire Rogers. And Wimbledon was going on earlier in the week. I think the final was that Sunday, so just a couple days ago. And there was a tweet that someone took a screenshot of Fred Ridley, chairman of Augusta National, just sitting there. And he just kind of has this like hand kind of over that, sunglasses on. And Claire took that like screenshot of him and said, it's like our grass is way greener than this. And I just died laughing and it just kind of like caught traction for people when I saw it. So as she walked by, she's having a conversation with Rory McIlroy. Like they're talking about, I think like getting into town or like where they had dinner or something like that the night before, just like talking about places to eat. And I like just say to her as she walks by, I'm like, Claire, your Wimbledon tweet was hilarious. She stops talking to Rory, turns to me and she said, thank you so much. And then keeps walking. I was just like, I stole her attention away from Rory for just a split second. But I was like, I couldn't not tell her how funny that tweet was because it was like, it just was just perfect. Like it's just one of those things like just looking at it, I was like, yeah, it's like, it's not what he's thinking, but it's like, man, it's like, do we all like wish that like people would actually kind of think this way sometimes. It was just so surreal. I was like, I looked at the camera, I was like, yeah, that's never gonna happen again. I was like, but it was super, super, super cool. Yeah. Kind of watched everybody else throughout the day, throughout the week, and saw everybody else, just kind of bunch of other players and stuff like that. And then that was the time at the Open. Did some damage in the merch tent.
Yeah, I see you got a hoodie. You got a now.
So this is actually funny. So it's an Open hoodie. I saw this online. like months before we went. And I was like, man, that's a great hoodie. Like I need one of those because like Forged by Nature, it's like that's what a
What a
slogan.
great
Like
tagline.
what a title.
Especially
And
for
it's
Link's
like,
Golf.
oh gosh, yeah.
Right?
It's like, cause I mean, like we'll get talking about Link's Golf, but it's like it was just so cool. Just love it. Just love the open logo. Love the color and everything like that. Well, it's like I was like I wanted to buy it online, didn't buy it online, so it's like maybe when we're in St. Andrews they have the open shop. So it's like I walked into the open shop. I was like, let me just see if it's there because it wasn't online before we went. And I was like, maybe I'll just buy it so I don't have to bring it back. Sold out online unless you're like a triple XL, which I am not. So go into the open shop and it's there. So I'm like, perfect, buying it. So I bought this not from the open, but I bought it from the open shop in St. Andrews, where the really funny thing was, I think they were just trying to just kind of like get rid of some stuff. There's like, with any purchase of any open gear that you make, it's like we'll give you this book of the 150th Open,
Brilliant.
like just like as like a capsule of it for free. And I remember seeing this book when we were at the 150th Open, and it was like, the price is not out. It was like 35 pounds.
Yeah.
And I got it for free because I bought a hoodie. So I was like, okay. And I was like, after I did that, I was like, man, it's just gonna make my suitcase heavier and a little bit smaller. But it was cool. The fact that it's like I went to the 150th and like I now have that there. It's like you always need a good coffee table book and stuff like that.
Coffee table books are the way forward. I've been building my collection for sure. It's great.
Oh yeah. It's like golfers journals can take you so far, but it's like you need some good yeah, mine are split in half. Yeah. I have half that are still in like a, not pressurized, but just like a sealed container that's like weatherproof and like humidity proof and some stuff. And then the other half from when we got back to the States, when we moved back, are sitting on the desk right there.
Yeah.
So
mine is split too. I have half on the coffee table and the rest are right here.
Oh yeah, it's Golfer's Journal. It's like, I mean, shameless plug, but
that's another podcast.
That's another podcast. Love it. But yeah, definitely did some damage. And some of that damage is flags, and that's going to fill all the spaces of the wall behind me. So
that's I got plenty. That's what my office is. It's flags.
Yeah. I've got plenty. That was the thing. Anytime I go to like a major championship, I always get a flag. Mm-hmm. So the funny thing is I didn't go to the 148th Open like at Portrush, but I have a flag because I was there.
Yeah, because you went.
I was like, I got to buy a flag. So I mean, I have flags from 148th, 150th, 153rd. I have one from the 2022 PGA at Southern Hills.
Yeah, and the open ones are the yellow ones, right?
Yeah, the yellow ones with the open and 18
logo and like the numbers in the corner. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got it in the closet. I could pull it out if I need to, but it's like, it's great. Actually, no, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I wanted for mine. The open flag is such a great flag. The bright yellow with the red. I think it's red number in the corners.
Man, it's easy when you got show and tell, but yeah, I mean,
that's right.
That was the one from this year.
Yeah, that's such a good flag.
So good. The 150th one, I'm not going to go dig for that one, but the 150th one was just amazing because the logo was probably one of my favorite logos. And it's like, I don't know if you can see it, but it's at the bottom of that right there.
But yeah, like the 150 that looks like a paint stroke or whatever.
Yeah, that 150 where the 0 is the open logo. Like that, I was just like, that was a masterclass of like logo design. And I was like, yeah, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
will you apply for the ballot every year like you will for a Masters?
Not every year, just because you spend a lot more money going over to the UK.
Of course.
I mean, for opens, I mean, I would love to go to every open. I mean, who am I kidding? I would love to travel to Scotland every year. I would love to travel to Ireland every year. I'd love to just live there because it's a lot cheaper to travel.
Yeah, a lot cheaper. But
probably, I mean, like opens at St. Andrews, 100%. Just because opens at St. Andrews it's just a whole different vibe. Like it's so cool. I mean, there's a buzz around the open all the time. And that's why I love going during practice rounds because one, you get to see guys when they're a lot more relaxed, they're a lot more chill, and there's fewer people because everybody wants to like not the hardest tickets, but the tickets that everybody tries to go for are like actual tournament days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like everybody wants to go to those days. I like watching it on TV for the tournament rounds because it's a better viewing experience. Because I was there the Saturday, Sunday of the PGA at Southern Hills, couldn't hardly figure out like what was going on. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you just had to rely on your phone, you had to rely on your ears and just kind of hearing roars and stuff like that. Like, I was standing 15 yards away from Mito Pereira's ball when he hit it in the water on 18. Like, we turned, we heard like a noise, and then we turned and we saw ripples, and we're just like, who was that? And he was like, I don't know. And then we see
Yeah.
Mito walking up. It was like, oh no. It's like, we're listening for like Will Zalatoris, like making a par putt there, see Mito's ball in there. It was like, could be a 3-man playoff, but it's like, had no idea like what's going on. So it's like the practice round days, you just get to see a whole lot more. And especially like opens at St. Andrews, the Mondays, they do the Champions Showcase. And that's one of the coolest things.
That's
Like
what they play
it's,
like 3 holes, right?
yeah, so they play 1, 2, 17, and 18.
4 holes, yeah.
Yeah, so they play the 4 holes because I mean it's easy to just go down and kind of loop it, but it's so cool. We didn't know that it was like I didn't remember that it was going on the Monday that we were there in 2022, and it was so cool. Like I have a picture of, I mean I think the last grouping I think was like Georgia Hall. I think it was Georgia Hall.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And then Tiger, Rory, and Lee Trevino. And it's like there was, I mean, it's like you have, I mean, they're all they're all open champions. And then you have like women's open champions, senior open champions. And that was, I think, there was the first year where they did kind of I can't remember the specific name for it, but like the disabled tour, where it's like either like disability. And that there was a guy who's like watching him hit a golf ball from a cart, ripped it. I was like, he hits it farther than some people that I know. And I was like, it was unbelievable. And there was another guy with one arm, same thing, just absolutely sent it. I was like, these guys are insane, like playing with these guys. And there was a picture that I have of, I can't remember, I'm not even going to try to name everybody who was there, but there's a picture of, I took a video of like Lee Trevino, Tiger, and Rory. They're like talking about putting strokes and stuff like that, just standing like basically on the burn of, or like just off the slope of the road hole bunker.
Yeah.
On 17 green, and they was kind of going through stuff, and there was a guy that had a microphone, like just kind of talking, just kind of like commentating stuff for the crowd. And I was like, take your microphone, plant it in the middle of them, and just let them talk. Because it's like Lee Trevino is like he can hold court, and he held court on 18 tee box. Jack Nicklaus drove up with someone in a cart, and there was a backup where there was, I think it was like 3 groups, and they were kind of waiting there. And I have a list of everybody who was on that tee box and how many major championships they had. Cause it was like I just started like looking at everybody as like Lee Trevino, Nick Faldo, Tiger, Jack, Rory, John Daly, Louis Oosthuizen, Zach Johnson, Tom Watson, Stuart Sink, and Padraig Harrington.
Yeah.
And I was like adding everything up. I'm not going to try to add it up here, but I was like just doing the numbers. I was like, there's like 67 major championships on this tee box right now, and Lee Trevino's like flipping wedges like just down near the burn, just like talking, oh, if you do this, and just like he's just like holding court, just hitting balls, just like killing time. I was like,
so awesome.
I was like, just to have a microphone down there just to hear what anybody is saying, I was just like, would have been
TV
amazing.
Gold. Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to see a site like that ever again. Like it was so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like kind of the long way to answer the question. Yeah, like a St. Andrews Open, 100%.
2 years time.
If the Open ever goes back to Muirfield, 100% do that. But I mean, you can never go wrong going to an Open. I mean, Opens in Scotland are just phenomenal too. Like it would have been awesome to go to Troon. Would have been really, really awesome to go to Troon, but just kind of didn't enter it because we were already going to be traveling to Scotland later that year, so I can't really do 2 trips. So just kind of timed everything out. But yeah, Scottish Opens are amazing. I would really like to kind of get down to kind of some of the English rota courses and stuff like that too. But like Birkdale, I think Birkdale would be amazing. But yeah, I'd love to if any open like opens that go to Portrush, opens that go to St. Andrews, like always would do it.
Because Troon was last year, right?
Yeah, Troon was last year. Troon, it's like because that was July and we were in Scotland in September again, so it was like it's too close. I would have loved to go into both, but
yeah, it's like 8-year rotation because I'm looking at the champions at Troon, and Stenson and Mickelson were the previous ones that had that crazy back 9.
Gosh, that was
Stenson won it in 2016, and then Todd Hamilton before that in 2004.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's and I think
also played at OU.
Yeah, also played at OU. So it's just Troon's a great one. I mean, just to play it too.
And then Justin Leonard in 97.
Yeah, that was just yeah, that 2016 Open was just
So good.
that was, I think, like, Data Golf had that as, like, the 3rd best performance in a major championship by Phil Mickelson, and
Yeah.
he
Finished
didn't win.
second. Yeah.
And it was like it's like 2000 Tiger, 2016 Stenson, 2016 Mickelson. I was like, he's inside, I think, the top. I think if it's not 3rd, it's like 4th or
Yeah,
5th.
it's crazy.
And it's like, and he's the only one on the list that like did not win. And it's just wild. But yeah, the Open is special. The Masters is like probably one of my, I don't know, the Masters is just something different, but I think the Open is my favorite major championship just to go to, because I have such an affinity and love for links golf. You know that. I mean, links golf is my favorite golf in the world. Augusta is like, you almost kind of like when someone asks like, oh, who's your favorite golfer? It's like, okay, well, you put Tiger in his
Yeah.
own category. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, other than Tiger. So it's like, other than Augusta National and the Masters,
Yeah.
the Open Championship might be my absolute favorite. Like, I would love to not only play in, but I would love to get to and win a U.S. Open. I'm not going to argue with any. And being a PGA member or being a PGA associate, I'd love to win a PGA championship. I'd love to play in a PGA championship. Yeah, the Open is special. The Open is, yeah, it's something else.
Yeah.
Something else.
So awesome. Well, dude, we could sit here forever and talk about golf. I know we could. Could be its own just entire mini series about golf. And so I'm gonna have to have you back on to talk about your entire 6 months living in Scotland, what that was like. And break it all down, not just because of the golf. I know you have a list of golf courses, but break the food down, the travel, you took the dogs with you, like that's coming.
Yeah.
We'll definitely break that down. We could bring Mandy in to talk about her experiences as well, not just the guy side of it. You know, all those great places for coffees and restaurants and just
she's got a great perspective. We can talk about it a little bit there, but there's places that we talked about that we were going to be for 3 weeks at a time, like staying there, where she was like, okay, we're only really kind of doing this because of golf. She turned into some of her favorite places in the world. So it's I can't talk about it enough.
Yeah, that'll come on a future episode.
Oh yeah, it's been fun. It's always fun chatting with you, but it's good to kind of be back in this kind of capacity and kind of have some fun with it and talk a little bit about tournament that we both love, that we both want to play into, not just go to at some point. But I don't know, maybe in the future.
You have to go qualify for it and go play on the qualify and try and get in the mix.
Yeah, I thought about it.
It's worth a trip.
It is definitely worth a trip. So.
But
maybe someday soon.
All right, so people listening, we're back. The episode about the Open. Hope you enjoyed it. Plenty of Blake's got plenty more Open stories. I know that's not just it. There's so many more. So I'll link his Instagram down below. You go check that out. And thanks for listening. And we'll catch you on the next episode of I Don't Have an Accent, You Do in the future. Thanks for listening.